My simplest daily routine for self-improvement. Do not miss this. It was a rainy Tuesday morning, and I was sitting on the floor of my apartment, surrounded by half-finished books, workout gear, and sticky notes filled with plans that never quite worked out. The thing is, for years, I tried everything people said would change my life. Morning routines that felt like they were pulling me in 10 directions, self-help books that promised the world but only added pressure, and motivational videos that left me feeling more overwhelmed than inspired. But what if I told you it didn't have to be that complicated? What if I told you that the simplest daily routine, one you could fit into the smallest corner of your life, could be the one thing that finally made a difference? I was skeptical at first. You see, I'd spent months looking for a magic bullet that would kickstart my self-improvement journey. But after a small moment of realization, I started doing something so basic, so ridiculously simple, that I couldn't believe I hadn't thought of it earlier. And within days, things began to shift. It wasn't some miracle. It wasn't even something revolutionary. But what I discovered over time, well, that's the real twist. Now I'm sure you're thinking, what could possibly be simpler than what I've already tried? What if I told you that's exactly what made all the difference? I'll take you back to that rainy morning in my apartment. The light outside was dim, the type of day where the sky hangs heavy with clouds, making everything seem slow and sluggish. My phone buzzed, and it was another life-changing quote from a self-help guru that promised to change my perspective. I used to devour these with hope, but now it just made me feel like I was doing it wrong. I hadn't found the answer. For years, I'd told myself I was missing some secret formula. Every motivational video, every so-called life-changing routine only seemed to add to the pile of things I should be doing. I'd try them out, but within days, the routine would crumble. My apartment was littered with evidence of my failed attempts, each unfinished journal entry, each unused yoga mat, each unopened book a reminder that maybe self-improvement was more complicated than I could ever get it to be. But as I sat there, something clicked. I wasn't failing because I was lazy, and I wasn't failing because I was lacking willpower. I was failing because I was chasing the wrong thing, the wrong routine, the wrong definition of improvement. So there I was, sitting in my mess, staring out at the rain, wondering what could possibly make a difference. In the back of my mind, I kept thinking, what if I stopped chasing these grand plans and instead just focus on the smallest possible change I could make today? It sounds simple, right? Too simple, maybe. But something in that thought felt like a deep breath after being underwater for too long. It wasn't about trying to make everything perfect or grand. It was about starting with something so small, it was impossible to fail. I grabbed my journal from the pile of unfinished ones. For the first time in weeks, I didn't try to make a 5-step plan or a 10-page goal list. I wrote down one sentence: today I will show up. It wasn't even a big commitment. It wasn't some elaborate system to change my life. But somehow that tiny, quiet decision felt monumental. As the days went by, the shifts were subtle. I didn't notice them at first. I didn't feel like a different person, but I did feel more present, more aware of what I was doing, more focused on the small moments that added up to something. And over time, I began to see the impact. The story didn't end there, though. This wasn't the first time I'd tried small changes. In fact, I'd tried small so many times before, only for it to fizzle out as quickly as it began. But there was something different about this time. I wasn't pushing for perfection anymore. I wasn't trying to force the results. The true difference wasn't in the small actions I was taking. It was in the way I was approaching them. I had stopped treating self-improvement as something I had to earn or deserve. I wasn't looking for a perfect routine or perfect habits. I was showing up every day with the smallest of efforts, and that consistency, no matter how unglamorous, was quietly doing its job. But just when I thought I had it figured out, just when I thought I could stop searching for the missing piece, something happened that shook my understanding entirely. I remember it clearly. It was a week into this new, simpler approach. I'd made a habit of journaling for 5 minutes each morning. No grand introspection, just writing what I felt, no judgment, no agenda. But one morning, as I sat there, I realized that what I'd been looking for all this time wasn't the perfect routine. It wasn't the right way to do things. It was the act of starting, no matter how small. It was the quiet acknowledgement that I was already enough just by showing up. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. I had spent so long trying to chase a perfect version of myself. I had believed that only through massive, life-altering changes would I be able to succeed. But in reality, the secret wasn't in achieving perfection. It was in embracing the imperfections, the simplicity, the small, daily actions that we so often overlook. I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out, but now that I couldn't look at self-improvement the same way. It wasn't about what I did in grand bursts. It was about how I showed up in the smallest ways every single day. So here I am now, years later, looking back at that rainy morning. It feels surreal. I remember the frustration of feeling like I wasn't doing enough, of trying routine after routine and always falling short. But now it's different. It doesn't feel like a struggle anymore. I don't need a 10-step plan to feel successful. I just need to show up each day however I can. But let's be clear, the journey didn't end in that moment of realization. That was just the beginning. It wasn't about doing less or more. It was about finding what worked for me, and it was about embracing the idea that my simplest daily routine, done consistently, was enough. It was about trusting myself to start and to keep showing up, even when it felt like nothing was changing, even when the world outside was telling me I needed to be doing more. If you take anything from this, let it be this. You don't need to do it all. You just need to do what matters. Every single day. The smallest effort, done consistently, will always outweigh the largest burst of effort that fades away. So I'll leave you with this question. What could you start today that seems too simple to matter? What tiny shift could you make in your daily routine that could change everything without you even realizing it? You might just be surprised by the power of something small. If you've made it this far, I want to know, what's one simple habit you could start today that you've been putting off? Leave a comment below and let's talk about it. And don't forget to share this video with someone who might need a little reminder that they don't have to do it all to start moving forward. Trust me, this is just the beginning. There's a deeper story waiting to be uncovered, and I'll see you in the next video.